Alright, here are my thoughts on Puss in Boots Travels Around the World. So, this is the third and final Toei film starring Piero, or he goes by like a bunch of different names in these dubs. Okay, so in this dub, so the only dub I could find was the English version. So in that version, he's named Pussy. That's yeah, I don't know who came up with that name. So yeah, after going through the names Puss, Ringo, and Pusty in the English dubs. I think the second one was the only one I watched in Japanese. But anyway, so this is basically inserting the Puss in Boots character into the story of Around the World in 80 Days. So yeah, who did that book? Jules Verne. All right, so yeah. I mean, there's not a whole lot to say about the story. It's the same as, the Around the World in 80 Days book. It's about where, Pusty is the stand-in for Phineas Fogg. Is that his name? He makes a bet with some, rich dude who, in this movie, he's a giant pig. And he bets that he can go around the world in 80 days, and, if he loses the bet, then he becomes the pig slave. So, yeah, he heads out along with this hippo friend, as well as, these two mice, they're a father and son duo. And along the way, he's getting chased by those three assassins who keep chasing him around in these movies, because, all of these movies start with, their king sending the assassins out to kill him, and, because he's a friend of mice and all that crap. And then all the movies end with, the three assassins chasing him, because, ooh, here we go again, So yeah, they're trying to stop him. Well, they're trying to stop him because they want to kill him for, being a traitor to cats or whatever. But along the way, they form an alliance with this wolf who was hired by the pig, who wants to, stop Pusty from going around the world in 80 days, and so they chase him around with all these crazy, contraptions and stuff. So yeah, they travel to a bunch of different countries, and we only get a brief glimpse of them all, like right near the beginning, the first stop they have right after they leave. I'm guessing it's England, where they live at the beginning and stuff. So yeah, the first stop is Spain, and, for some reason it shows him as a matador. He's, fighting a bull. And you can't help but wonder why he's stopping and messing around with a bull when, he's got a, he's kind of got a deadline, But anyway, let's see. Trying to remember. I mean, there's not a whole lot to this movie. I'd say this is the weakest of the Puss in Boots movies. I guess the villains were kind of memorable. The three assassins are pretty much the same as they always are. The wolf is super hammy. And speaking of ham, the giant pig is quite hammy as well, but, in a slightly less goofy way than the wolf. But yeah, he's a pretty fun villain. But I'd say most of the movie I was kind of constantly checking how much time was left. So yeah, that's not a good sign. But yeah, since this movie's partially about time. Um, but yeah, I was constantly, yeah, I was kind of bored for most of the movie. I think it got kind of interesting near the end. I'd say starting from when they're in the Arctic and, the, let's see, the sun mouse, the kid mouse, he falls into like this uh, thin ice, I guess. You know, he falls into the cold water and then he like catches like a serious fever and he's sick for a couple days and they lose time and that's when, the stakes start to get a little higher, you start to feel the time. Um, so yeah, that was a decent little touch of drama in there. And then they get back to England, wherever it is they're supposed to be. I think it's supposed to be England because that's what it is in the book, right? Um, so yeah, they get back there and yeah, the final chase scene up the clock tower as the pig is like pulling all these cheap shots. He's like barricading a bunch of doors. He's like tearing down stairways and stuff to keep them from climbing up. And then, they find a way around it. So, like, there's this big, intense chase scene. And, yeah, you do kind of feel the time going by. I mean, it goes by slowly enough. But, yeah, yeah, it is suspenseful and everything. You want him to, you want the main characters to succeed because they did establish early on how much of an issue the rich, snobby pig guy is. But yeah, of course he succeeds, and yeah, the three assassins are on his trail again, and his tail, I guess you would say. They're hanging off of a balloon, and yeah, that's the end of the movie. So there's not much to say with the movie overall. It's just, I mean, I would say the animation has been downgraded a bit since the previous movies. I mean, I think it has been getting a little weaker with each Puss in Boots movie, but yeah, by now, I know there's like a lot of respected artists who worked for Toei before this, like, Miyazaki and others. I think they all left by now, or at least most of them did. But yeah, it's, let's see. So yeah, not much to say about the animation. The humor's pretty meh. I mean, I can't really say that Japan has the same kind of sense of humor as us Americans, but, also it was a different time, the 70s. Humor was a little less funny, I won't lie. Well, okay, we got Monty Python, and SNL started by this time, so, okay, there's some good comedy here and there, but, yeah, I guess, George Carlin and Richard Pryor were in the business for a couple of years, etc. Okay, I won't say there wasn't good comedy back then, but still, it was a little harder to come by at the time. And yeah, again, Japanese people probably don't have quite the same sense of humor as us Americans. No, that's not a knock against them or anything. But yeah, otherwise, I don't really have much to say about it. It was a pretty middle-of-the-road film. So, wasn't bad, though, so I guess I'll give it a 6 out of 10. And I don't know, if you've seen the other Puss in Boots movies from Toei, then I guess this one won't hurt to check out, just so you can say you've seen all of them. But yeah, there's not a whole lot to be gained from watching it. So yeah. I guess that's all I can think of right now. So, as usual, if there's anything else I remember, I'll put it in the comments. So, okay. Yep. That's all I got for now. So, yeah, Mash it and Smash it signing off.